low platelets is a sign of portal hypertension and splenomegaly. So if you have persistent low platelets, think of a chronic liver disease. In patients of cirrhosis, we categorize their severity according to child score and MELD score. I think all of you must be aware of it. Child score is simple: ascites, encephalopathy, nutrition, all those, bilirubin and albumin. And in MELD score it is very simple: creatinine, INR and bilirubin. I am telling you, it is just to remember that in cirrhosis, patients are categorized by child score and MELD score, and there is no 10%, 20%, 30%, 50% liver damage. The common question patients will ask is, "Mera kitna percent liver damage hua?" There is nothing, you cannot comment on that. The severity of disease is determined by child score and MELD score. If your child score is high, your liver disease is severe. Your MELD score is high, your liver disease is severe. Now coming to the most important and exciting part is the non-invasive diagnosis of liver disease, especially this chronic hepatitis. You must have come across a lot of this investigation called FibroScan, RP, and MR elasto is coming in a new way. These are non-invasive diagnosis of fibrosis. All these years we had a problem. We couldn't diagnose early fibrosis or early chronic liver disease on ultrasound, because there was no way we could diagnose apart from liver biopsy. But with availability of this simple ultrasound based test, we can diagnose whether this man has or this woman has a chronic hepatitis or fibrosis already coming up in the liver. I tell you, this is clinically extremely important, because somebody who has come with HbSAg positive, he is a 40-year-old who has SGPT, SGOT around 40-45, what will you do? Liver looks normal, will you treat him, will you not treat him? If on FibroScan or RP or MR elastography, it shows that there is evidence of chronic liver disease, even if his SGPT, SGOT is normal and DNA is high, I would start treating, because he is already in a state of fibrosis or cirrhosis. He needs treatment, otherwise in the next 3 or 5 years he is going to decompensate. But at the same time, if his FibroScan or RP or is normal, then I would wait if his SGPT, SGOT is normal. So a big decision can be made only on these tests. They have their own limitations you need to take into account, and at the same time they should not be over-utilized. I have seen patients with decompensated cirrhosis undergoing RP. I don't think there is any game in doing that, because you know that liver is cirrhotic. What is the point in it? So judicious use of non-invasive ultrasound based these FibroScan or RP can be very helpful. They are available in Thane, they are available almost in every city in Bombay now. And obviously, if you suspect anything and if you have doubt in diagnosis or the severity, liver biopsy remains the last option. So assessment of severity is very important. Then comes the etiology. I will go through one by one in short. Commonest is alcohol. Alcohol, somebody is drinking intermittently or regularly, will have abnormal LFT, SGPT, SGOT, alkaline phosphatase, gamma GT. Over a period of time, one may progress to cirrhosis. So how do you make out somebody is drinking? Because often patients underestimate or don't divulge the history of alcohol. If you have raised MCV, raised GGT, then you suspect that he is drinking alcohol and probe into it. HbSAg positivity, that is hepatitis B infection, very common. Almost, I think in our country, if you say 2 to 4% of the population is Hep B positive. So HbSAg positivity or hepatitis B infection is a very common cause of chronic hepatitis. Anti-HCV, hepatitis C infection, another common. Almost 1% or 2% of the population is hepatitis C positive. It creates a lot of panic in the person when they are anti-HCV positive. Lack of knowledge among doctors and patients create a lot of difficulties to the patients. So anti-HCV, if detected, should be screened further and detected. A lot of times in blood banks, when they test blood for hepatitis B and hepatitis C, the test comes positive and they are panicked. What to do? A lot of times these are false positives or these are evidences of past infection. So don't just get carried away with an anti-HCV positive means they have chronic hepatitis C. Alcohol A, B and C, I think that is 90, I would say 80% of the problem. And then comes the most common is fatty liver. So common, very common in our country. Remember, every fatty liver is not a problem. I would say more than liver, it is a marker of increased risk of coronary artery disease, increased risk of diabetes, increased risk of stroke, because it is a part of metabolic syndrome. So if somebody has a fatty liver, you have to investigate them for metabolic syndrome. Only a subset or a small subset of patients will undergo progression to cirrhosis. So more than liver, I think you must look into whether he has a metabolic syndrome. The best diagnosis of fatty liver will be on ultrasound. To tell you, ultrasound only detects fatty liver. It will not detect whether you have inflammation because of fatty liver, what we call as steatohepatitis. It will not detect fibrosis because of it. It only detects fatty liver. But presence of fatty liver, you must investigate the patient, do his LFTs, do his non-invasive scans, and find out whether he has a metabolic syndrome. If he has a frank metabolic syndrome, you need to look into that. Commonly used drugs, isoniazid, anti-epileptics, alternative medicines, and antipsychotic medicines, or for mental health, and statins. They all give rise to abnormal LFTs. Autoimmune diseases, highly under-recognized. In presence of other autoimmune disorders or non-autoimmune disorders, can have these abnormal LFTs, especially females in the age of 3rd or 4th or 5th decade. You can have autoimmune liver disease. Don't forget, simple test, you can check. Similarly, if somebody is young and has abnormal LFTs and abnormal ultrasound, Wilson's disease, that is copper metabolism, should be taken into account. And the fourth is treatment. I tell you, almost 80% of these diseases can be treated in general practice. You just don't need to go to even a physician, forget about super specialists. Because I will tell you, most of it is formed by alcohol and non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, that is fatty liver. And hepatitis B to a large extent, where 80% of them will not require treatment. So alcohol is abstinence and nutrition. You don't need anybody to intervene, you don't need specialists for that. And fatty liver, I want to focus at 2 minutes on fatty liver. Fatty liver needs only two types of treatment. It is weight loss and exercise. All other medicines you write, 10 medicines are complete waste. One needs to lose 5 to 10% of the body weight over a period of 6 months to 1 year or 2 years. And that has to be a sustained with a lifestyle modification. So only 5 to 10% of weight loss will make the change, and completely you will see fatty liver disappear. You don't need anybody, you don't need physician, you don't need specialist. And you need exercise, that is aerobic exercise. You need to jog, you need to exercise. Yoga and pranayama does not sort out this problem. You need to really do aerobic exercise regularly, that will clear fatty liver. So both these, which form almost 70% of the problem, will be sorted out at a family practice or family physician level. You don't need anything. The rest all medicines are, I would say, useless. To tell you some development is hepatitis C. You all were dreading hepatitis C because we had fair number of population of hepatitis C. But there are oral drugs which are coming in hepatitis C. They will be there any time. It's already available in the US. They are genuinely game changers. They take care of hepatitis very well, and I am sure in 5 or 10 years down the line, hepatitis C is going to be treated by family physicians. It is a single pill which is to be taken for 12 to 24 weeks, and hepatitis C clears. Especially in genotype 1, the results are of 95 to 100%. So hepatitis C soon is going to be a family practice, and it can be treated very easily. So hepatitis C, alcohol, non-alcohol, all can be treated as family physician level. And that's why it's an important topic which needs to be looked into. Autoimmune, Wilson's and other things need a specialty consultation, and one must send these patients, if you don't find 3 or 4 of common causes, to a further physician or a specialist. Thank you.
Friends, this lecture of Dr. Pariyan Gupta, and I call upon the marketing head, Mr. Dinesh Tikekar from Global Hospital to accept our presentations. I ask Dr. M.G. Mota to felicitate Mr. Tikekar. Thank you very much. We hope you like what you have seen today, and we would like to be associated with you in future also. Thank you. And once again, I hand over to our Santa Claus, Sushil Sharma.
Thank you, Snehal. Friends, Dr. Dilip Patil gets the badminton double winners prize. Dr. Dilip Patil, give him a big hand, please.
Dr. Gupta, we need you for presentation on the dance.
Dr. Yogesh Mahajan. Dr. Yogesh Mahajan is not available, but he is a badminton doubles runner-up. Our Kaka, Dave Kaka, Dr. Harendra Dave gets 50 plus TT singles winner. Give him a really, he deserves the award. He's still like 16 years. And he, along with that, he bangs doubles, TT doubles winner also, single and double, wonderful. 50 plus.
60 plus.
60 plus.
70 plus.
So, and what is there with you in Matka, Dr. Asif Pochi?
The next goes to nebulizer.
Nebulizer,
Are you
okay.
ready, all?
Really?
जोर से आवाज नहीं आ रही है, मूड नहीं हो रहा है. Are you ready? Yes, please. मटका छोड़ करके.
जय मटकेश.
So the winner is Dr. P.S. Patil.
Dr. P.S.
Dr. P.S. Patil. Is he in the hall? Dr. M.D. Singh. Congrats for
He deserves big hand. Jump over.
Yes, Android mobiles, nebulizers, pulse oximeter, and toss the finger.
Thank you everyone. Over to Sneh.
Friends, our next lecturer is Dr. Deepak Patkar, a radiologist, and he is going to speak on a very, very basic but most difficult